Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Uh, Cyber Dragon, that is me. And I'm here to make some logic for different game types and see what we can come up with. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But, we always learn something. Today I have a new audio settings. So if I sound a bit different or not loud enough, let me know. I'll keep the chats open as well. And if anyone messages, I can have a look. Hope everyone is well. So we're going to make a hide and seek game. So basically, we push a button to start. We'll make the rules system pick out the person, and that person will be the person that seeks everybody out. And we'll have everyone else need to hide. And what I was thinking of trying to do is see if the person who seeks, when they capture someone or get really close to them, pretty much they're it as well, and they need to go and look for the other players hiding. So we kind of have like this infection mode where when you find people, they become the seeker as well until everyone has been caught, and then reset and start again. I have an idea of how to try to make this work, but I don't know how successful it's going to be, or if there's bugs in the way or road bumps. But we're going to play around with it and see what happens. Hi, Fred and Bird, Nervex, Ian. Welcome to the stream. Good to see us. Hope you're well. Now, for this game, we need to have each player to be unique with their own identification. So the way we can do this is to duplicate this 20 times and have 20 different teams that have 20 different tags. So if we do that, then we'll go team 1, and we can bring that down. So this here will be this. I've shown this a couple of times on stream already. And this is how I like to create games at this stage, to make different roles and give people different unique tags, such as local variables and things like that. So I'll go ahead and do this 20 times, and maybe we can remove the weapons. Don't really want weapons. So go ahead and delete that. And we'll just have individual tags, and we need 20 of them, so that when the max capacity is reached, every player in it will have a unique identifier. Because you can see the max players and minimum players is 3, so it kind of stops the uniqueness of each player, because you might have 2 or 3 players with the same tag, and that's not going to work. So we'll go ahead and do 20 of these, and then we'll save it and move on to the next step. Once all of this is down, what we've got to do then is put down 20 speakers, and the speakers are all going to be individual tag detections. So one will be for detecting tag 1, another one will be for detecting tag 2, all the way up to 20. And when the tag is detected, it will send a message to the rules system to give them that unique number. So we're up to that part now. We'll go ahead and save that. This is the starting of our games. So that way we have 20 players, and when they load in, they'll have individual tags. We can stack all of these portals together, but while we're working with them, we can have them spread out. So saving. Now, if you're making big projects, it's always good to organize your assets in a hierarchy. You can create folders, and you can call this avatar portals. And what you can do is you can hold shift, you can click, hold shift, click, and drag all of those into the folder. And then you can expand and whatnot when you need it. And you can even label these with numbers if you wanted to see in the hierarchy which one's which. So when you check, you got 1, 2, 3. So you don't have to guess when they're stacked on top of each other. But hopefully we don't need to revisit these, so we don't have to worry about that. Next, we can bring out a numpad. Good old numpad. And what we do here is we can call it tag detection. And we'll have no collisions. We'll make that invisible. And what we'll do here is add a speaker. And the speaker is going to detect entity. We'll edit the logic. And what we want to do is specific tags in range. And we want to include the tag 1, for instance. When it's detected, what we can do is send a message. So that message will be a local number. We want to make a message argument with it. And that message argument will be a number. Call it whatever you want. And now we can allocate a number. And we want to allocate the number to be the same as the player's tag. So when it detects 1, it's going to send a rules message to the rules and send a number 1, right? So now what we need to do is go to the rules system, and we want to create a variable. We want to create a number, and that number is going to be local. So each player will have their own unique number, and we'll just call it local number. And now we need to send a message to that rule. So what we can do here is we can do set number value, and that number value will be sent from this speaker. So we're going to send a message local number with the value of 1. So we will set the number value using local number. And the number we want to set value for is the local number. And the value we want to set is what's attached to the message argument, which is whatever that value is. For this one, it's 1. Note that it says player needed, which means that player's direct interaction needs to trigger this, such as speakers, volumes, askers with interact, that sort of thing. Okay. We can also set up a rule on join, which is what we're going to use to display the HUD. So we'll use the message HUD, and then we'll go ahead and add whatever. We'll add a game screen, and that will be HUD. And we'll turn that on with the message from the join event. And we can go ahead and click any of these spots. Looks like, there we go. So click one of those wherever you want your information to be seen. Click the pencil, and then we're going to click the local number. We'll just call it local number. This is just for testing purposes. You don't have to show the player that information, but I want to show you guys what it looks like. And the veteran developers will already know, but we'll save that one, and then we'll press tab and test it out. So when we press tab, we should spawn at the first portal, and then it will give us the local number 1. As you can see in the top left corner, it says 1. If we go ahead and press tab again, it's going to spawn us on platform 2. And it will say local number 0 because we don't have any detection for tag 2 to send a message to rules to allocate our number. So what we can do here is we can duplicate with Control D, and what we can do is edit logic, and now we can detect for tag 2, and we're going to send a local number 2. We can duplicate and do the same for 3 and local number 3. And we're going to do this for all 20. So when 20 players join, they will all have unique numbers. And we do this for all of them. So that was 7. This one is 8. This one is 9. Edit logic. This one is 10. $11. This one is 12. This one 13. This one here is 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. And the last one, you guessed it, it's the number 20. Alright, so what we can do now is save this one, but before I do, I want to go ahead and select all the portals. I'm going to edit the logic. I want to add the sound component to each one. So I'm going to go ahead and add feature. I'm going to add sound, and we're going to click that. And on message on start, I think is interact. Or is it message to send? I think it's message to send is interact. And that will play straight away. And that will send to specific tags in range. We can do all. And we can call it, we'll call it A1 for asset 1. And you pretty much want to do that for all of them. So that way, when we want to send the message, interact, specific tags and range. When we want to send this out, we can grasp a pickable that we can use to kind of allocate the player to be a hider or a seeker. It will be to do with the asset that they're holding. That will determine their actions, if they're chasing or hiding. And we can also give abilities this way as well. So play sound, and I'll show you how to do that. You can probably speed people up or slow people down using this stuff. So we got, what am I looking at? Tags in range, all A4. Kind of losing focus there for a moment. So we'll go here, add a sound, and we want to send the message interact. And this one's to specific tags, and this one here is for A5. All right, before I do all of them, I'm going to have to do a test just to make sure that it works as intended, so it doesn't need correcting on all of them. So what we'll do is we'll add a pickable. This pickable will do something like that. Opacity, I think that's completely invisible. I keep forgetting. This one will be A1. And I don't think we need like message on picked. I think that's okay. Let me give them individual tags and we'll do a test. A2, A3, A4, A5. So we'll go ahead and save it now and then we'll do the test. Hey, play game for fun. How's it going? I'm going well. How are you? All right, let's test that out. So I am player 3 and I've picked up the third one. So that works as intended. I can probably lower them. So if I do -1 and -0.5, or maybe 0.7, and then I spawn in, I'm pretty much a box. And that's fine. We can make our custom assets for each role, so that's no issues. What I can do here is do player custom avatar and do something like, I think it's just trash. Yeah, you can be a bin. I like to use this one every now and again. And now you can be this tiny bin with no attacking animation and arms flopping around, and it looks pretty funny. And we can see we've picked up the 5th one and we've got the local number 5. So that all works. Excellent. And I can put all of these in a preset and bring them out when I need to. I'm pretty sure I can kill them off as well while the player is holding it, but we can do some tests and check that out if it does what I hope it does. F6, F7, oh sorry, A7, A8. We need 20 of these, one for each player. And I'm going to use this template once it's set up as a template, so I don't have to redo all of this for the different ideas that I have that requires this basic setup. So this would be a custom thing that you can just open up, and then not a custom thing, yeah, it's my own template. So I can open it up, use the same settings or start up and just build a game from there. A19 and the last one A20. Okay, so now that will all get picked up by the appropriate player. We got up to 5, so now we need to add, whoops. We need to add the sound to each one of them. I don't think I can add more than one at a time. That's a shame. And this one here will be interact. And specific tags in range. And this one will be A6. Same thing here. We're going to add sound. Play sound. This one here will be interact. And the broadcast type will be specific tags in range. We'll put that all the way up. And this one will be A7. And now we have A8. Play sound. Interact. Maybe I should have that as a copy paste. Make things a bit faster. And this one's 8, is it? I'm pretty sure it's 8. Yes, it is. And this one here will be 9. So A9. Okay. play sound. And this one here is the same thing, interact, specific tags all the way, and this one's A10. Play sound. This one here is interact, with specific tags. This one here is A11. And again, specific tags, full map, A12. Specific tags all the way up, A13. And once I get all 20, I think I'm just going to save it and then duplicate the experience. And that way we have this for the next stream. If we do another idea that requires this kind of setup. And the last few things I've worked on all use this setup. I did do a stream trying to give individual quests that relied on a rule system a few weeks ago. Maybe it's a month or two ago now. I lose track of time. But after trying to use it on my experience that I'm building and testing it on client, it doesn't quite work on clients because it triggers for everyone. It doesn't do it individually, and that is a bug, and I have reported that bug, and it's been identified and is going to be fixed so that that technique will be usable. Just not yet, because of the single player is triggering for everybody, which it shouldn't be happening when it detects a tag, yeah, a specific tag. A19, and the last one here is 20. And A20. Yay, we got there. Beautiful. Go ahead and save. Also, I need to make these into presets. I don't think I will right now. Actually, I probably need to. Probably need to because I need to do the RNG system. H being the word holder. You could do pickable, whatever you want. I just used a letter H. And we just do that for all 20 as well. There we go. And I probably will make these into presets. We can save over them later, it's not an issue. But for the RNG system, we need to bring out the right one. And we probably need to save over this a couple of times, depending on the technique we are going to try to use. Because I don't know exactly how this is going to work. We may need to bring something out that's applicable, then the roll happens, and then whoever gets selected, their pickable gets replaced to look like the person that's doing the chasing. Something like that. Or we can have a specific asset spawner come out with your exact role, but we'll need to individualize that for all 20. So there's probably different ways we can tackle this issue. And I have no idea which way to go. So I'll just let the universe take over, and whichever way we go is the way we go. But after I save these presets, whoops. We're going to save, duplicate, and then do the RNG part. And it's about the math. So we just need a single message to be sent to the rules. It will do some RNG and then allocating, I believe, using the local variable might work. But yeah, we'll go ahead and duplicate this experience, and then we'll have this as a template for future streams. All right, so we're going to duplicate and back up templates. Alrighty, and now we can go back in. Now we have a copy in case something goes wrong. We can always go back as well. Cool, cool, cool. Hey, last year, how's it going? So what we could do now is duplicate these 20. We'll get rid of the speakers. We'll add a message broadcaster. Actually, no, we need to make it an asset spawner. And we'll get rid of that. We'll click that, and only once, and then we can go ahead and bring out the asset that we saved, so H1. And we need to do this in conjunction with the role system inside the rules, so that the appropriate one comes out. But we'll just go ahead and add these in. And the game will start without picking it up. Did I just do 5 twice? Yes, I did. I should concentrate. H6, H7, H8, or H8, H9, where are we? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Where are you? Somewhere around here. Where are you hiding? There you are. Okay, so we've got all 20 here. And then we'll need to go into the rule system and do an RNG kind of deal with logic. We'll set up a button to push so we can see what the role does. What we can do here is just probably put a numpad down. We can add a volume. We'll just make it small. And we can do RNG. Just to do the test, we can go to the gameplay. We can go to number. We'll make it global. We'll call it RNG. And then we can add a rule, which is to roll a number using RNG. We also want to check the variable RNG just to see if it's working. Awesome. Cool. All right, next we want to roll a number between 1 and 20. But here's the first issue. So if we only have like 3 players, we need to roll a number based on how many players there are. So what we could do for this one is we can have a player join and player exit. This may be a bit more trickier than I expected. So we can say player in and player out. Player in and player out. And what you can do with that is have a map rule. And what you can do here is with player in, you can add 1 to a variable which will be players. So this will have how many players are in a game, and the result will be players. And what we can do here is duplicate this one, and this one is player out. And what we can do is we can do variable players add 1. And this one here could be variable players subtract 1. And that will be how many players are left. So what we can do here is we can roll between 1 and variable players. And the variable will be RNG. So if there's only 1 player and we do an RNG, it will only roll a number 1, I believe. We can test that out. And let's see if this works. So we got RNG. When we come up to it, we've rolled a number 1. Awesome. But now if we have 8 players and we roll between 1 and 8, but the 9th player is Portal 9, they got a different tag. We can't really force a player to be earlier in the roll. Maybe we can we'll come back to it. That is something that we do need to tackle though. Player count. So we'll have player count. We'll have HUD and assign local number and RNG. So that way they're all labeled in a list here, easy to find later on. So we can do compare, or we can do assign number. Actually compare number. And what we can do here is we can do a comparison, and we'll do compare number, and we want to check if RNG is equals to I don't think this will allow me to just check. Yes, it does. So if RNG equals to a local number, we can say set as seeker, maybe. But then we need to do a comparison of if it's between 1 and 20. So if it equals to 20, so compare number. So what we'll do is if RNG equals to 1, set 1 as seeker. All right, and I think we just need 20 of these. If it's 2, we probably need to check number active. check one active. I think this is the way to do it. And then we check, whoops. Check two active if it's two. And if it's not active, we do another roll. I think that's the way we should tackle this. So we need to do this for all 20 numbers. If we made it a 20 player game. So it will check, no. We're going to check if it's equal to 5, we're going to check if 5 is active. Then we're going to check 5 compared to the local number. If there is a local number, yeah, I don't know. We'll do a few of these. We won't do all 20. We'll just say we'll do 10. And if it works, we'll come back and finish off the remaining 10. But because we don't know how this logic is going to be pieced out all the way, it's best not to do all of it. Okay. So we need to check if one is active. So what we can do here is we can compare again. We'll bring this over to the first area. Yep. All right, so we're going to do check one active. And what we want to check is local player, okay, or is RNG equals to, I don't think this is going to work either. All right, if it equals to 1, we need to see if RNG equals to a local number. But I don't know how that's going to compare it, because it doesn't say player needed. Maybe we can do a... interesting. We can use true and false toggles as well. But if something's toggled off, maybe we can send a message straight back. Oh yeah, maybe we can do it a different way. So we got speakers, right? And it's going to detect entity. And then there's sets of rules. But if we have a volume, we can have a volume that will specific tags in range, and we can do the whole map. We're going to look for tag 1, and when they enter, it's going to send a message local 1. When they exit, we can say toggle 1 off. So it covers the whole map. You can get rid of the speaker. And what happens here is, because it covers the whole map, when player enters and they tag 1, it will send a message to the rules that 1 is active. When the player leaves, it will toggle 1 back on. And that way it keeps and that means we also did the RNG incorrectly as well, because if it only rolls between 1 and 4 but there's player 5 or 6, it's not going to detect that. So this one here needs to be this one here needs to be a variable. sorry, a fixed value of 20. Even if it's 4 players, it needs to do some cycling event. Maybe we can activate an RNG to roll a different RNG. So what we can do here is say RNG1, and it will set between 1 and 5. And then it compares number. Then we can duplicate and make this one RNG2, and it can be between 1 and 10. And what we can do here is RNG15, RNG3. Maybe having the number at the end is probably more sensible, because then that number tells you how many players that you're trying to roll for. So RNG20, and compare numbers. So what we can do here is when a player joins, where do we have that rule? So when a player count happens, we can do compare player amounts. And what we can do here is we can do a comparison, check if number is in range. If the number is between 1 and 5, and the number we want to compare is the players, we can have RNG5 on, and we can go ahead and do that. Maybe not in range. Maybe we can compare numbers 1 and 5 if the minimum. Yeah, this will do. This will do. So we do 6 and 10, and we can do RNG 10 on, and we can do 11 to 15, and this will be RNG 15 on, and we can do 16 to 20, and we do RNG 20 on. So each time a player joins or leaves, it will compare how many players there are and send a message depending on the value of the players between 1 and 20. And then it sends these messages to trigger on. What we can do here is we can send a message RNG, and that RNG will duplicate with Control D. And we can have a message broadcaster and a toggle. And what we can do here is wait for message, and the message we will send is RNG, which comes from this detection or wherever we want it. And we can send a message to the rules RNG5. We turn on with RNG5 on, and we turn off with RNG10 on, RNG15 on, and RNG20 on. What we can then now is duplicate with Control D. We'll turn this with RNG10 on, and we turn this off with RNG5 on. We want that to be off at the beginning, and when we send a message, it will be RNG10. We duplicate with Control D. We want to turn this on with RNG15, and we turn RNG10 on to turn this off. And when we send a message RNG, it will send the message RNG15. And that goes to the rule system. And we'll duplicate one more time. And this is a RNG20. And this one here will be RNG15 on. And this one here will send a message RNG20. So these will toggle on and off depending on how many players are in the experience. It will do a comparison and toggle those on and off as needed. When a message RNG is sent, it will send it to the right one, so the calculations are split up depending on if there's a low amount of players or a high amount of players. Because if there's only 1 to 5 players, you don't want the RNG to flick through numbers greater than 5, because it will take a long time to compare if it keeps rolling high numbers. So this is the reason why I split that up. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So when that is now active, you can go ahead and we'll save this one with Control S. And then what we're going to do is change these speakers into volumes to detect the whole map. I think that's the way to go. And when the player leaves, we can toggle something off, which what the rule system will be looking for. So what we'll do here is we'll delete all of this work we just did. And we'll Control D. And we're going to do local number 2, tag 2, and toggle to off. And we just need to do this for all 20. And this way we can control when a player leaves to turn something off based on their number. So when the next player joins and takes over that spot, it will detect their tag and toggle it back on. And this will help with the RNG system. So if the toggle is off, that means there's no player in the game with that number, and then it will roll again. And when it rolls again, it will either do a new number, and if it does have a player with that number, it can then assign it to roll. And again, if it's another roll without the player having that number allocated, it will roll again. And we'll set that up with toggles and a message broadcaster, just like what we did here. We did with the RNG over here. So 13, 13, toggle 13, 14, toggle 14, and this should work for our initial RNG roll allocating. And the last one, and that is 20. Okay. So now when player 20 joins, it covers the whole experience. It checks for their tag, sends a message 20 to the rules, and when they leave, it will toggle 20 off. Pretty easy. Now having 20 just being sent to the rules is probably because we need to toggle something on, and we can't use this single message to toggle it on because this is the same message on all of them. We could probably do with a the speaker as well, or we can use the rules to send another message to toggle something on once it's allocated. We'll save and play around with it, see what the best method is. Okay, that's all saved. This is RNG. So if I now spawn as a bin, I'm player 7. I rolled the number 2. I rolled the number 3, 4, 5, 1, 5. I just happened to get 2, 3, 4, 5. So it made it look like it was counting 1, but it was random. So you can see the RNG is working. Each time I cross the barrier, it's rolling between 1 and 5 only, because it has less than 5 players on the map. Cool. Okay, so what do we do with this? So we've got here a spawner, and I guess this is where the toggles kick in. So we can go ahead and add a toggle. And we'll have it as off, and we want to turn it on when a number is allocated, and then turn it off when that player leaves. So when we do a roll, the spawn will happen, and if it spawns, then it won't re-roll. If it doesn't spawn, then it will re-roll. I think that's the way to do it. So we don't need to check if it's active. We can just, if it rolls, we can send a message to spawn, and then we can have a tag on that spawn, and if it spawns, it means that it was active. But we also need to send a message after the number has been allocated, the local number. So what we need here is also I guess a speaker. To toggle something on. We can duplicate this. And what we can do here is get rid of the exit message. And when it detects 1, say toggle 1 on. And we can do that for all 20. And this will be the only way to do it. Toggle 2 on. And this one will be automatically tagged 2. Yeah, I think this is the way to do it. So toggle 3 on. Toggle 4 on. And that way, when a player joins, they're given a number, and they're also toggling on their asset spawner, I guess. Oops. Hey, last year, yes. So you've asked, may I ask you something about projectile logic? Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. What do you need to know? If I know it, I can answer it. But I don't use that logic much for my games, but I definitely have played around with it and shown it on stream, how to make some shooting cannons from a ship, or shooting ships from a cannon, I should say. And also magic wands, which was a lot of fun. Okay, so all of that now will toggle on, and then we can go ahead and toggle one on. Whoops. And toggle one off. Maybe I can make it easier with copying this. So 2 on and toggle 2 off, something like that. Is that logic needs always an asset spawner to spawn the projectile object multiple times? I solved it that way. Is the logic needed always an asset spawner? Yeah, so if you need to spawn a projectile, you definitely need an asset spawner to bring it out of for it to work. That is correct. Toggle 3 on, toggle 3 off, toggle 4 on, toggle 4 off. Toggle 5 on, toggle 5 off. Toggle 6 on, toggle 6 off. Toggle 7 on, toggle 7 off. Toggle 8 on, toggle 8 off. Toggle 9 on, toggle 9 off. Toggle 10. We just need to do this for all 20. So when a player joins, the asset spawner turns on, and when they leave, it turns off. And we can spawn it with the RNG system. And if it's off, nothing will spawn, which means it won't trigger a detection. And if it doesn't trigger a detection after a second or two, it will roll again until it detects. And once that detects, it will spawn for that player to be the seeker. And this will probably have to be a two-parter stream. I'll probably make it a continuation next week. Because you can see, just to get the setup for the RNG system, it takes a little bit. Okay. Cool. Go ahead and save that so we don't have to do that again. Okay, so let's go to our gameplay, or our game rules, I should say. And this one here is check 1 active, check 2 active, check 3 active. And we did that for 10 of them. And what we should be doing is not putting the numbers in the middle, but at the end, so it's easier to alter. So we can say spawn seeker, and then have 1 at the end. And then it's quite easy to just add a number instead of trying to change the number in the middle of a message. So when I remember to do this, it's a lot better. And you can see how much faster it is to work with. And then you can do the same with this. Much faster to work. So we want the rules system to send out a message once it's rolled a random number to these asset spawners. And when the asset spawner comes out, it will be detected by its tag and tell the rule system we've got someone that is going to be the seeker. And then we need to send a message to let the other players know that the seeker has been allocated and they are the hiders. Oops. So that one's 13. Is this one 12? Yes, it is. Okay, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we've got that now, and the last thing we need to do is pretty much duplicate this whole rules row, bring that down underneath, and we need to change this to be the other numbers we're missing from 11 to 20. And it's the same thing, we just change the messages at the bottom, and you can see how quick it is to add an extra 10 players and make those alterations when you have a good message system set up. Okay, that is done. So now when the message is rolled, it will compare number. If it equals to 2, it will say spawn seeker 2, which will then spawn seeker 2, which is H2. We go to our presets and we go to H2. You can see that this one has a tag A2. It could have been H2, but it is what it is. And when it detects it, we can do a speaker or a volume. So we can do volume, volume trigger. I'm going to add it to all 20. Okay. And we'll probably have to individualize these. So we'll do that. It would be nice if we can actually do it for all of them. Saves us a few steps. Let's see if it allows us. It does. So what we do is specific tags in range. That range can be quite small because it's only going to detect itself. And then the message needs to be sent. So what we can do here is edit logic. When this spawns, it's going to detect the tag A1, and then we can say A1 send a message A1, and we can just go ahead and do that for all of them. And it's going to look for A2, and I'll send a message A2. And you can use these messages in different ways. So, for instance, if we what was I thinking? Lost my train of thought. Doing that quite a bit lately. Yeah, so we have individual tags, so that way that if we want to have a message be sent out for that particular person, you can individualize that, which is what I'm doing here. But you can also just have a single volume that detects all the tags and send out a single message to say, yep, person's been allocated, now do the next step, which we can probably set up both. But we'll see how well this works, and if this works, then we can move on to the next step. We just need to do this for all 20 as well. So basically, if it's toggled on and it rolls this number and it brings out the actual box, it will detect the tag, and then it will be sent to that particular player. And when that player has it in their hands, then you can send a message to toggle something else off, to say everyone else that remains is the hider. I don't know how that part's going to go, but when we get up to it, I'm sure we'll figure something out. It's all to do with message broadcasts, toggles, tags. And you can pretty much do anything. Okay. A14. Thank you. I used that logic for a cannon that shoots balls, but when you press E, balls when you press E, but I also saw people doing the same thing with a gun and bullets using pickable objects. Is it a VoxEdit animation? In that case, is it possible to do a projectile logic too? That's all done inside of Game Maker. So I do have a stream where I did that and showed how that works. So have a look at the future channel, the future streams on his channel, and see if there is anything in that stream that might be useful for you. But it is all to do with pickables. The pickables have a asset spawner parented to it. Then you've got to attach local variables to that weapon, so only the player that's holding it can shoot it. But yeah, I do have a stream. I think it's the same stream where I showed how to shoot the cannon at the ships a couple of months ago. Of course, you can do custom animations in VoxEdit as well. I did make a quick survival template kind of relies on VoxEdit animations to do cool effects with the environment, but the actual animations don't really interact with the environment. It's just more of a visual cue. Tech Zero, how's it going? You based your game off that tutorial. Very helpful. Nice, Nervex, that's awesome. Glad it was useful. Alright, the last one of the 20. So it's going to detect A20 and it's going to send a message A20. Woof. Didn't think I'll ever get through that. Alright, we're good there. So now what happens is if I walk at this numpad, it's going to roll a number between 1 and 5. It's going to send a message to see if one of these is on. And if it's on, it's going to spawn it and I'm going to be holding the pickable. I don't think this solves an issue, just thinking about it more deeply. If I'm local number 6, right? I guess it doesn't matter. Wait, yeah, it does, because if I'm player 6 and there's only 5 players, it's going to roll between 1 and 5 again, and it's going to miss out on player 6, who's... Interesting. This is not ideal, by the way. Just thinking about it more. As you progress through advanced logic, things do break or don't work as intended. If it gets too complex, you've got to rework a lot of things. Now, I think these are one of the instances where if I'm player 6 and there's only 5 players, it's going to miss number 6 all the time. But I can just make it between 1 and 20. And we'll just go through that system where if it doesn't do anything, roll again. And if it does... Alright, let's see how we can do this. I mean, if this is toggled... If it's toggled with a message... no, that's not going to work either. If we had 2 toggles with 2 message broadcasters, one was on and one was off. If it's on, it says re-roll. If it's off, it will spawn. I think that's a way to get around it. It's not ideal, again. We don't need this whole map system anymore. But let's just work out the next step. Let's just see if the first thing that I built works, and then we'll go from there. From local 8, it's going to roll 2. It's going to roll 5. Yeah, that's not going to work. We want it to keep rolling until we're a number that's been allocated. I'm going to duplicate this. Control Z to select anything that deselected. We can get rid of the trigger volumes, I think. And we can go ahead and add message broadcaster. Okay, so when we have message broadcaster, we can then send a message. If it's on, we can send the message to spawn. On, it will be that message, and then everyone in range will be spawn A1. And then spawn A1 will be here. and that will be it. We don't even need a toggle for that, I don't think, but that's okay. We got it anyway. So that will spawn A1 if it's on. But if we switch it around the other way, duplicates, Control D, and what we can do is just put it underneath, or we can have it on top. Doesn't matter. We'll have it on top. And what we can do here is we'll switch the messages around. So this one will be toggle 1 off. Which will be on straight away. And this one will be toggle 1 on. And the message that will be sent, oh, we didn't have a message? Okay, so the message here will need to be spawn seeker 1. So we'll go back to our spawny one. And we can say spawn seeker 1. And if it's on, it will spawn again. And if it's off, what we can do here is spawn seeker 1. And what we can do here is all an RNG. That means that there is no player 1, so we're going to roll again. I think that's the way to do it. Which means we don't really need toggles for this, but we can leave it on anyway. I don't think it makes much difference. And then we got spawn A1, which will come from here. If it's toggled on, it will spawn only in range, spawn A1. Okay. Spawn seeker 1, spawn A1, and then I can do spawn seeker 2. Spawn seeker 2, and then it's spawn A2, right? Spawn A1, spawn A1. Okay, then I got to do it for all of them. So spawn A2. That's the message required. Spawn A2. That's the message sent. And then for this one, it is the seeker message. And this one's to all. And these ones need to be flipped over. Yeah, so there's a little bit of work there for all 20. But basically what we're doing here is sending a message from the rules. We can go ahead and make this one just between 1 and 20. So it will compare all 20. And yeah. So I'm going to spawn A1, spawn A2, spawn A3, I basically need to do this now for all 20, so we're going to have to go through all 60 numpads and change the messages for all of them. But once this is set up, the RNG system will work properly, where it will check to see if there is a person allocated, and if not, then it will roll again. And there'll be different methods for doing this in the next version of Game Maker. I think 0.11 has a bit more into the rules, where you can target specific things now, I believe. I haven't played around with it. It's just word on the street. So this might be redundant in a few months' time, or there might be a better method. But this is what we have to work with, and it works. This requires a little bit of finesse. Yes, don't click any links in the chat. I don't know how to delete them. I thought Nightbot or something was supposed to do that, but I'll speak to PandaPops about it later on. Okay, so we got A20, so we got spawn A1, spawn A2, spawn A3, and we just need to go through this. I do need to click them to change something else or add another message, so we probably need to go through this a couple of times. But this one's a lot faster for selection, thankfully. Okay, A9, A10, oops, A11, A12, A13, A14, A15, A16, A17, A18, A19, and A20. Now if we come back here, we have spawn seeker 1, and over here we need to just use RNG, right? Okay, so what we can do to shortcut a little bit, not by much, but we can select all that and type in RNG. So that's 1, and this one here we need to type in spawn seeker. So spawn seeker, and then we just need to do that for each one. So we'll click, and that's spawn seeker 2. I'll be right back one moment. Okay, spawn seeker 3. Okay, spawn seeker 4. Spawn seeker 5. I can't see chat, just in case, I'll click it. Okay, all good. Spawn seeker 6. spawn Seeker 7. Spawn Seeker 8. And then after we do this row, we got the one row above where we need to switch over the toggles from on to off. And then that will be the whole thing done. I lost my copy. Okay, so we're up to 14. I think I should, once I've completed this, well, actually it will be the end of this stream, then I can duplicate it and have a backup of this. Because what I duplicated earlier was not enough. There's a lot more work on top of that. And this setup can be used in a whole bunch of things. But that requires RNG player allocation. So this is Seeker 19, and the last one here is Seeker 20. Okay, so let me save that because I don't want to go through that again if it crashes. It's not fun, it's quite tedious. Okay, so this one we got toggle 1 off, toggle 1 on. And these are all off to begin with. So I'm going to go ahead and select these, toggle that to true. So basically what we need to do here, sorry if you can hear that, my son's being loud in the background. Alright, so we've got toggle 1 off and then toggle 1 on, and that needs to be switched. So spawn Seeker 1, I'm pretty sure all of this is done, right? Spawn Seeker 2. And these aren't on. Okay. So we do need to go through this twice. Spawn Seeker 3. And that's for everyone in range, but what we actually need here is to go to the rules, or all, I think. All. I'll just make sure that these are all identical, otherwise we're going to have issues. And I can probably change them all to all in the one go. It saves thinking about it and manually doing it one at a time. So I'm going to go to all. We're going to wait for message broadcast. And now we can go ahead and do the individuals. Alright, spawn Seeker 4. Spawn Seeker 5. Spawn Seeker 6. Spawn Speaker 7. Spawn Seeker 8. And then after this row, we need to go through it again and switch these around, and then we can test it. And then it will let us know if the RNG system works. We'll be able to see the numbers flicking in the top left corner until our number is hit. When our number is hit, it should stop doing the RNG and give us the allocation. So we'll see if that works. Okay, 5 more. So that's 16. $17. 18. 19. And the last one here is 20. Alright, one more save, because it's better to save often than not at all. And then it crashes and then you need to do it all again. Like, no. Alright, so what we're doing here is toggle one off, toggle one on. Then we have toggle, we can have toggle 2 off, toggle 2 on, toggle 3 off, toggle 3 on, toggle 4 off, and toggle 4 on, toggle 5 off, toggle 5 on, toggle 6 off, and toggle 6 on, toggle 7 off, and toggle 7 on, toggle 8 off, and toggle 8 on, toggle 9 off, toggle 9 on, toggle 10 off, toggle 10 on, toggle 11 off, toggle 11 on, toggle 12 off, toggle 12 on, toggle 13 off, toggle 13 on, toggle 14 off, toggle 14 on, toggle 15 off, toggle 15 on, almost there, toggle 16 off, toggle 16 on, toggle 17 off, toggle 17 on, toggle 18 off, toggle 18 on, toggle 19 off, toggle 19 on, and the last one, toggle 20 off, toggle 20 on. Awesome. Let's save this and test it. So when we test it, we should see the RNG number in the top left corner going through all different variations until it has picked your number that's active. Hey Pickaxe Master, thanks for the raid. How's it going? Doing well, man. How are you? Just doing a hide and seek type game, but just setting up the initial allocation of the person that's going to be the seeker. So now if all works well, the RNG should tick until 9 pops up and then give us the pickable. There we go. So now we have the pickable, but you did notice the RNG did stop at 3. So I'm going to go quickly check out in case I made a mistake on number 3. So off and on. Off and on, Spawn Seeker 3 RNG. I think it's random, but we can try again. Sometimes it needs a small gap between the rolls. But there's a 10. Yeah, see, it stops if it's too much. So we do need to have like a breaker in between, which is fine, but it works. So basically what you will do here is all of this here is sending a message RNG. So we can do RNG gap. And what we'll do here is have a message broadcast, edit logic, and we can say RNG gap, and we're going to send a message RNG. So now we've got a space in between, and maybe this will prevent that from happening. Let's check it out. Getting a new experience ready. Ooh, that sounds cool. Haven't seen your stream, so all new to me. You can see now the RNG did work. And it worked straight away. You can see the numbers are not stopping until the actual right number is rolled. So far, so good. Now the thing that gets spawned out will be the seeker. It will be an asset that goes over the top of the avatar. It won't be that box, just so the players walking around a map will know that's the enemy to stay away from. It also allows you to attach asset spawners to it, so you can have abilities that will give you a boost. If you watched, I did a stream on the survival template, and the survival template has this sort of function, which has asset spawners and things to toggle on and off with it, which is what I kind of replicated here. So what I want to do is show the power-ups. So you've got a power-up system. You probably want to use speed in this case, and you can speed up for like 5 seconds. You can even probably slow other people down for 5 seconds as part of like the abilities inside the chase game. So if you're trying to run away from the seeker getting too close, you can probably use a speed boost, which has a cooldown. Or you can have the seeker slow you down and speed themselves up for 5 seconds. Things of that nature, which have a cooldown. And the level itself will be a puzzle that you need to solve. So you need to look for keys to match the right locks, to get the right items, to complete the level, to get the key that opens up the escape room, like the last door to get out of the level. So you need to do stuff while the seeker is trying to find you. And there'll be places that the people hiding can go to escape that the seeker can't get to. So maybe a vent that you can crawl through or something of that nature. It's something that we'll play around with. But so far so good. So when that comes out, it will send a message A1 when it detects A1, and I'm pretty sure that in this case it would have been nice to use a speaker, because if I use the speaker I can have a message pop up to show that it's been triggered. I'm sure it works, but it's good to get the validation, because once it's spawned it gets picked up pretty much the next frame by the avatar that's detecting it, but I'm sure it will be okay. And then we need something that triggers. So I'll bring this over here. Once it's been picked up, so we can say A1, A2, A3, A4. So when one of those messages are triggered, by the spawn in of the RNG, it will send a message to this message broadcaster, which will then send a message to teleport everyone else. And everyone else that's left will be the people that are being seeked. Now, one thing I did discover is if you have custom avatar, you can customize their collisions. So if they don't have any arms or legs and things of attacking animation, like this bin, you can fit them in small holes. As long as their collision box is within a hole, it works well. Doesn't help though that the seeker will also have that with just an asset over it. So I can't really make a place that the hiders can go to that the seeker can't, but I can have the seeker, the thing that it's holding, be detected by like vents. So if they get too close, it kind of teleports them just a little bit away. It won't let them go through, but it will let everyone else go through. And then we can say TP hiders. So when the seeker is being allocated, it will send a message here to TP to hiders. You'll probably need a timer or a gap between this so it doesn't happen instantly, but that's what we're looking at. So we got this base template now, which now looks like it will work. It will detect what players are in. It will do an RNG system. Obviously I got a detection for RNG, but I can change it so it's a menu or a button that gets pushed or a timer that counts down. It doesn't matter. We just got this for testing purposes today. And then next week we can do the finesse teleporting, and then we can do the level design. And when we do the level design, I'm going to see if someone wants to join and make assets for it. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but an asset that will go over to the player as the seeker. So it can be something scary or freaky looking that you have to run away from. And we can do some assets around the map, like lockers and chests and keys and locks that are color coded and things like that, in order to make the game interesting. But yeah, that's it for today. Nearly 2 hours. I'm just going to play news of the week, and then we'll see if we can raid someone else. So, be back soon. Cheers.
Hello and welcome to the
All right, I guess that's it. So I'll see you guys next week. We'll continue on this experience. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye bye.